We're not against rap. We're not against rappers. But we are against those.
Something big about to happen. I hear the beat tapping. We some fly rhyming felines rapping on the track. Better yet, grab a gat, cause we hot like Enzo. Doors closed, windows up, cause that's the way we like to ride. Windy City hitting. Check mic 1 2 1 2. We live, baby.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, MzHipHop, and you're tuned into another episode of the album review show, okay? Today, we're diving into two classics that shaped the streets and the sound of real hip-hop. Big L's Harlem's Finest, Return of the King, and Scarface, The Fix. And of course, I'm not rocking solo. I got my boy, my homie, my friend Train here in the building with us. And together we're bringing that raw breakdown, real opinions, and that signature Speak Your Mind radio energy. So let's get into it. What's up, Train? How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How you doing today, MzHipHop?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. It's been good. Yeah.
I heard you had something playing when you first came in. What was that?
What you mean?
The music that was in the background when we first came on.
Oh, yeah, I was listening to Megan Thee Stallion. I've been listening to her a lot lately on repeat. I was listening to the song Movie off her Good News album.
Okay, were you using it as a positive reinforcement?
Yeah, I guess you can say that. She definitely is someone I look up to lyrically and physically too, because she keep her body right, and I love Megan Thee Stallion.
That's cool. That's what's up. You listen to anything new?
Yeah, I have. I listened to this one song called Japanese Pants. It's by what's his name? Pope Baby and Will Hill. And it's just like a dope song talking about getting girls and, money and stuff like that. I just like the way they represent themselves. It was dope. What about you?
Sasha Keeble, because I still want that Isaiah Fall joint, and then him and her got the song together, but I came across a new song of hers, Feel Something, and I just been rocking today. It's a short joint for real. It's not even super long, but just been playing that joint a lot recently, more so recently.
Okay, Feel Something. I might have to check that out. It sounds like something I may like.
Possibly.
Okay. What else you been listening to, Train?
I mean, that's honestly really it. I haven't necessarily been just ingesting a bunch of other people's stuff at the moment, you know what I mean? Because of where I'm at with stuff. But, of course, trying to get in the album, of course, that you picked as well with the Big L. And that's pretty much it, honestly. So the newest thing I could honestly really say would probably be the Big L.
Yeah, definitely. That was a fantastic album. I enjoyed listening to it. And for all those people out there who don't know who Big L is, his real name is Lamont Coleman, and he passed away in, 1999, I believe. It was due to a drive-by shooting. He was only 24 years old. It's so sad. But he was a true legend at most. Most people that grew up in the 90s, they would just look at him as like before his time, based off his freestyles and everything like that. They were iconic. And the album Big L's Harlem's Finest, Return of a King, it is a complication of freestyles and other footage and unreleased tracks that haven't been out yet. And that's, thank God, due to Nas's Mass Appeal record label. He released it as a part of his Legend Has It series, and that's gonna be a dope thing too, or whatever. So yeah, I really enjoyed listening to this album. So what did you think about the album overall?
The overall was underground. Listening to this makes me realize like there's a group of people that have not left that space. As far as then, even to hear you say like when you were like people would say that he's ahead of his time. at the time they would have said that, and then to see that people still living in it, I'm like, all right, man, I most definitely, because even I was a fan of Big L, and I got on some of his stuff back in the day when him and Jay-Z and them were messing around with each other, and Jazzo, and I'll get to that too as well, because he has those parts where he does the fast flow. That's when they were doing the little fast flow at that time. But it really sounds like such a particular point in hip hop. It doesn't sound past it. Like even with the Scarface, I could hear the Scarface joint doesn't sound placed with some of those songs. Even though he's a Southern rapper. That Big L is just, yep. It sounds like this. It sounds like it should be a music video with people standing around the war drum burning newspapers while some of these songs are playing.
Oh, that's not actually a bad idea, but yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from, because that's a big controversy in Post Mama's albums releases, that Big L himself may have been stuck in that time period of the 90s. So when other rappers like, say, Joey the Badass, who is decades after Big L, comes onto a track, you can kind of hear the difference. You know what I'm saying? But to people that's like hardcore hip hop heads, they may care and they may not care. It can be on either side of the spectrum. Me personally, I don't care. I think it's a great thing to pay homage to a legend that was before us, you know? So with that being said, I'm going to start off with Big L's lead single, You Ain't Got a Chance, featuring Nas himself. Now, the content of this song was set up as Big L's freestyle was back from like the late 90s, and then Nas put his new verse in. And to me, overall, it sounded very natural. It blended in well. Nas himself did not hold back, because Big L was so lyrical at his time period, and even now in 2025. Both of them highlighted their confidence and the command over the beat, and both of them highlighted their wordplay. So at the end of the day, it was a great lead single to start off with Big L's Harlem's Finest, Return of a King.
Okay. For me, I would have picked for my first track, I think it was Harlem Universal. It was like literally like the intro, plausibly, because nowadays you have to say plausibly, because depending on what you're listening to it on, it might have it ordered differently or whatever it was. I listened to it on YouTube. So for me, it was the first track, Harlem Universal. Honestly, what I put down for my summary would pretty much be saying what I just said a few seconds ago. As soon as it came on, it reminded me of that, as much as New York classic hip hop would like to say that the Southerners, like, you're just talking a bunch of killing or just random stuff. This was a freestyle in the essence of a freestyle. You're rapping about rap and about, like, I'm gonna kill this up, and then you're trying to, it was really, the hook had nothing to do with nothing. This was the epitome of a New York style rowdy song for that time. Once again, this is 90s. We're not doing nothing crazy with the BPMs when you want rowdy music. So this is honestly the rowdy music of the time. So once again, when I heard that, I was just like, I get it. You know what I mean? I was like, I get it. The differences in our generation, because once again, growing up inside of the generation, sometimes you don't really hear the shift. It just kind of sounds the same, and then maybe a new area getting a moment to play. But once again, to hear this one and be like, okay, this is most definitely, like I said, the classic New York feel for a song. Pretty much for me, the epitome of when you hear somebody say that they do hip hop now, like somebody be like, yo, I do hip hop, not that they rap. That song would be the epitome of what they sound like to me.
Okay, I liked that first track. I think it represented the ambience of the album. Like you said, it had that rowdy feeling to it, but back in the 90s era. And I wanted to pick that song, but the reason why I didn't is because it was the first song, you know. I just wanted it to bring me into it more.
You ain't want to feel like you were just going for the first one on the board?
Yeah.
Listen, it's the first one for a reason sometimes. It's the first one for a reason.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
Yeah. What you got for your second one?
All right. So my second standout track for Big L's Harlem's Finest Return of the King would be Grant's Tomb 97, featuring Joey Badass, remixed by BVNGS and DJ Ron. Okay. Now, the Mix King DJ Ron, he provided Big L's estate with some vocals from an exclusive freestyle L recorded for Ron G back in the late 90s. Originally released on Ron G's mixtape, The Thriller Blends, in 2003, the freestyle has been repurposed into a Posh Moments collaboration with Joey Badass, who came decades after Big L, like I said before earlier. So in this particular song, Grant's Tomb 97, I really like when Big L says, "My iceberg sweaters and leathers are raw. I'm getting cheddar galore like never before. I could pull a dime quicker than D'Angela could pull a heist. I rock the blue face presidential full of ice. Me and my crew is sick like the flu. So what you gonna do, boo, huh? I ain't got no calling, no time out, cause I'm climbing out the garbage can with 2 9s out to blow your spine out." Well, excuse me. I like that particular verse because Big L is talking about getting money. When he's talking about like the Rolex watch, when he says blue face presidential full of ice, that's what he's referring to. And I really like the line where he references John Dillinger. It can be broken down in 2 ways. And he's either like getting money, like I said earlier, or he's picking up the honeys, aka ladies. Which is a good play on words because John Dillinger is a notorious American gangster from the Depression era. And he commanded the Dillinger Gang at that time, which was accused of robbing 24 banks and 4 police stations. So he's referencing the line, "I can pull a dime quicker than D'Angela can pull a heist," to getting honeys and getting the money, period. And that's why I like that line. What was your second standout track on Big L's Harlem's Finest?
Now or Never. And the reason I would say that it was my second standout track, because once again, understanding that they've grabbed a bunch of songs and put together on this album. They put this together. This is not something that this man had necessarily tested. But at the same time, because of slight quality differences of the way that it sounds, you could kind of hear the perspective or the respective time that you're taking the songs out. So for me, when I heard Now or Never, I'm most definitely, once again, getting the Jay-Z connection because of everything that was going on at that time with Jazzo, Mace, and everybody else, because this is around the time, too, that Mace and Jay-Z is beefing. But Mace is running with Harlem World, of course, and yada, yada, yada. So when you hear this song, this is one of the first songs when you hear a motherfucker making a song.
Okay.
This song was a song. This wasn't a freestyle. This wasn't a random collection of bars that he put together with a hook. This is an intentional song that was made. And then as soon as I hear this style, it sure enough is around that time that that Jay-Z round and round we go. But it's just like they simplified it. It feels like they weren't, I'm not gonna say that they were chasing what Big had, the magic that Big had made as far as being able to do the street bars, but still be palatable for everybody else. But you can hear the attempt in it. And once again, even for some of the shit talking stuff that they were doing, I was just like, even in the verse, I believe he said something about it. Like literally being like, all right, I'm making a song. No bullshitting. Yeah, I'm like, all right, yeah, this makes sense. Most definitely gave me Imaginary Player vibes, but not necessarily because of, once again, the wordplay or none of that. But it was just the energy of it. You could see that it was an intentional, sure enough song, and not necessarily just Even like the first one I picked, where you're just trying to say outlandish shit, or you're just trying to, the punchline is more so just getting your reaction. So I liked that song to more definitely see the difference in him at that point, to see him actually try to make a song, because most of the stuff I have heard from Big L is usually freestyle most of my life.
Yeah, most definitely. That's what he's known for, is those freestyles. They're iconic, you know. Even not to take up more time, but the 7-minute freestyle he did with Jay-Z, you can clearly see that Jay-Z was trying to keep up with Big L during that time. So if Big L was still alive in 2025, he would give these so-called rappers a run for their money.
I can't say that. I can't say that. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be that guy. Because regardless, as much as I can say in my heart that I could feel that Rakim could probably outright a lot of people right now, but his delivery will not go over to where as though it's going to translate any of the things that he is writing to a larger crowd. Even to say Big L was like, we were like, okay, Big L was ahead of his time. Yeah, in the 90s. Because the people that we hear that still rap like that, we be like, them niggas is stuck in the 90s. We don't be like, oh yeah, man, that sound like that new 2000 and such hip hop. No, we be like, oh, that sound like classic hip hop. So it can't be ahead of his time anymore, of his day. But he's still a man.
I mean, I can't disagree with you totally. I swear, I get where you're coming from.
No, I know what you mean too.
Okay.
Because really, it's a respect thing. You're saying when we say shit like that, it's the like, out of respect, I'm gonna say you. But it's like at the end of the day, in real life, you didn't get the chance, and it's fucked up because it wasn't. I mean, it is of your own doings if you were out there in the streets. So I can't even make it seem like you had cancer or something and just passed away. You were thugging. It's of your own doing. But you didn't get it. We're judging all freestyles. Anything that we're judging a Big L, for majority of his legacy, is freestyles. Even with Big, we had more than that. Even with Big Pun, at least you had the one studio album. But be sure enough to know you put Big L is always going to be one of those trivial ones. Because to me, it's like the Man and Goat situation. It was a movie that used to come on BET called The Goat. This dude, you played after Rucker, you played at all the named places, but you never went pro. But everybody that's pro know about you. It's one of them type situations. It's like, yeah, you a street legend.
Yeah, I get it.
But you didn't get that chance to get that next level of notoriety. So we could sure enough be like, yeah, the Jay-Z's or the... Yeah. Sorry.
No, speak your truth. I get it.
All right, man, what you got for your other song?
Shoot, man. Yeah, that's always gonna be a great discussion to have. But my third standout track on Big L's Harlem's Finest is Live Rockin' Will 92. And I did my research on this joint because I just wanted to know more. But I really love this freestyle because, you know, Big L had the gift of gab. You know, he spoke eloquently, he spoke fluently, he thought before he spoke, or it didn't sound like it, but he did. I mean, you know. Anyway, and also this reflected his spoken word ability that I feel like a lot of people gave to Pac, but they didn't give it to Big L. They just said, oh, his freestyles was this, that, and the third. It's all poetry though, you know? So, Rockin' Will was a duo that ran an iconic hip hop store on 125th Street in Harlem in the early 90s. And the spot was frequented by other DJs like Kid Capri and including DJ Ron G, who was even featured on Yo MTV Raps in 92. So this was the auditioned live Rockin' Will store for their MC and DJ crew hard pack. That's what you're hearing. So the recording surfaced online in 2003 on the unofficial but popular bootleg Harlem's Finest, A Freestyle History. and also included on the 2010 Posthumous complication Return of the Devil's Son, before finally being officially remixed and re-released in 2025 on Big L's Harlem's Finest, Return of the King. So I like in Rockin' Wheel 92, Big L talking about murdering all these MCs who's not even close to being on his level, yes, in the 90s. So I picked out a line where it reflects just what I said. So he goes, "The crown is still mine because I kick ill rhymes. A lot of rappers talk that murder shit and couldn't kill time or beat eggs or whipped cream. I'm smoother than Vaseline and I'm a stone cold rapping fiend. A lot of new jacks are coming out, but that's cool because I'm in the principle of the new school." So I don't need to reflect back on that line because it's very self-explanatory, and that's why I like that song. Do you have another standout track on Big L's album?
Actually, I do.
Oh.
I do have another standout track for me. It was actually kind of funny. Not necessarily funny, but it was interesting. It's a doo-wop. I believe it was the name of it. It had Joe Budden at the beginning of it. I believe doing like a little intro or whatever, it's speaking about him. And it was funny to me because the cadence that came off of that joint was the white boy flow. The next song that he does, as soon as that joint drops, and I call it the white boy flow, but it's the Tech Nine, Yellow Wolf, remember the days, the day. As soon as I heard it drop, and then it went, and I was like, damn, they had Joe Budden at the beginning of that bitch. I was like, yeah, that's most definitely his. It's of his class of that goddamn, what was the name of that group? The Slaughterhouse, yeah, that Slaughterhouse flow, Hopkins and all of them. So to hear him do it, and then once again, that goes to the Jazzo shit, because that was that time when they were hitting like that. Even when Jay was rapping fast, you talk about the 7-minute freestyle or whatever. This is the time when they were hitting it with that flow. So to hear that shit and you kind of like, I don't know. It's just, I'm not gonna say that. As far as the aging, it is interesting. It is interesting sometimes to see how so many things age, and then even for that, it was one of the things of. I remember when they did the Biggie joint, and had the songs with It's Bone and Biggie. So we all knew that they were taking verses and were chopping them up and doing the thing to it. So for some of us, depending what side of hip hop you stood on, to us that was like using AI. You know what I mean? This is like, all right, Biggie didn't really rap this shit. You're configuring his shit together and putting it together how you feel it should be put together. Everybody didn't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? So it rolls on. But the interesting thing was they at least got to change the beats and kind of make them sit within that 2000 era.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, even hearing that flow, I'm like, damn, this is kind of a flow that still sits for right now. That faster. But I would have liked to seen if somebody would maybe have, and maybe they did. Maybe that was a different beat than what was originally there.
Maybe so.
But then dated. It still sounded. I would have liked to hear. I would honestly like to hear it. Like somebody attempt to modernize it, maybe. You know what I mean? It's gonna sound fucked up. It's like, all right, you're already fucking with this music as is. You can't come in with a purest heart and be like, man, this is his music, I want to respect it, but you already is releasing it without none of his no or none of this shit. So it is a certain level to it, but I would have most definitely liked to heard this song, particularly the doo-wop, like of somebody try to modify it and try to make it sit into like today's demographic or the Eurocentric sound that I feel like, because I feel like if they did, you would put a lot more Euros on that Big L joint. Cause they love that shit. They love that flow right there.
I mean, you never know that possibly what you just said right now, you put it into the ethers, it might just come out, manifest its way out just like that. And the reason why I said that is because this ain't Big L's first Posthumous album. This like his fourth one or fifth one or something like that. It's crazy. So yeah. But great feedback though. I would like to add on one an honorable mention for Big L's Harlem's Finest, Return of the King. I want to go with Park West High School Mix. I really like that song because of the storytelling abilities. He talks about rhyming seriously about growing up in poverty and with no male role model, and a dysfunctional mother, and how it led to him for a life full of crime. And it's so funny because this song was heavily influenced by Tretch by Naughty by Nature. He has a song called Everything's Gonna Be Alright, and it has the same concept but a different delivery style. You know, again, talking about growing up in poverty, no male role model in the house. And he actually gets one of his lines from the song that's in the hook of Big L's song. It's called, he says, I won't, no. He says, I walk around with a frown. I got no reason to smile. And how will I make it? I won't know. That's how. Ayo, times was rough. I had to grow up foul. And how will I make it? I won't know. That's how. I always knew that I'll end up doing time in the owl. And how will I make it? I won't know. That's how. See, that was Big L being influenced by Tretch by Naughty by Nature song when he says, and how will I make it? I won't know. That's how. So it's in the same song. Everything's going to be all right. And I just want to point that out to anybody that wants to go listen to that High School Park West remix.
Most definitely was about.
Yeah.
I had something going on with it.
We said what?
I said it most definitely was a joint that had something going on with it. For me, I don't know. Once again, maybe more so recently than whatever. I don't know. Listening sound different. Like it's a different. Maybe it's just age too for me. I feel like when I was younger, most definitely like I felt like it just if they said something dropped, I was supposed to listen to it. Like it's mandatory.
Yeah.
It was homework for real. Like, oh, who dropped?
Yeah.
Now it was more so like, yeah, I do get around to it. But even with the joint, the classic hip hop joint, I don't know. It hasn't been. I don't know. I'll find a solution and find out what the problem really is for me. But they've been hard to listen. Yeah, they've been hard listens. They really have. I'm not even gonna hold you. They've been hard listens. Like I've been showing up and like, all right, well, I'm gonna listen to this. That's like homework now when I say that.
Yeah.
Compared to I'm like, oh yeah, I'm listening to. But I still fought it with it, and then once again, it turns into a thing just like with basketball. Mm-hmm. Even if I didn't see Clyde Drexler or somebody play, I'm aware of what their contribution was to the game. So then it turns into by default, even if I don't want to, mm-hmm. I still gotta listen. I still gotta, you know what I mean? Just out of homage and out of respect to it. So once again, it was a good album, especially if you like classic hip hop. All the classic hip hop heads, you're gonna most definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, but you had picked out an album, the Scarface, The Fix. What made you pick this album?
Honestly, when you picked the Big L joint, I pretty much had a mind state of where I felt that it was gonna sound like. So I wanted to pick something on the other side of the map, or at least in another area zone that would kind of maybe personify the same thing for a respective area. So the way that people, I feel in my opinion, speak about Big L is the way that people around my way speak about Scarface. Everybody may not have heard everything. You may not be privy to everything. Mm-hmm. But the weight that his name holds because of the style of his writing, it holds it down. I didn't necessarily do the big bio at the beginning, look him up, tell you where he's from and where he's living at, but we all know Scarface. We all know Scarface. So the album that I picked was The Fix. It was an album that came out my senior year. So this is like 02, 03. The first song I picked for my joint was My Block. That was the leading single off of this album. That's the leading single, My Block. I picked it because, once again, for people that like classic hip hop, we're doing the classic hip hop because this is a classic hip hop album, regardless of how you may feel because of region wise. And that's another reason why I said it. The beat style and everything, it's barely distinguishable depending on what you want to say, except for his draw. That would make you say that a majority of this album is Southern, if you would want to put it in a box. Once again, this was the leading single. So to have this be like a barbecue neighborhood, if you see the video, it's going through all of the eras in the video lined up well with it. It was just a good song. So whoever has never heard Scarface and you would like to get an introduction to Scarface that isn't necessarily dope boy or super spiritually reflective, this would be a good start. What do you have as a song? It seems like you may have picked that song very well as well. Because I know you probably listened and was like, oh, I know this song off of there. This is the one.
That's exactly what I did. I just went a whole different route with this album than I did with the Big L album. Okay, so I'm not gonna piggyback off you right away. I'm gonna get back to My Block.
Do your thing.
Okay, but after I give this dialogue, I'm gonna cut it short and go to the next one. Anyway, okay, so the song that I chose off Scarface, The Fix, was Guess Who's Back, featuring Jay-Z and Benny Siegel, and Kanye, of course, was on that beat. Now, I heard on this track, now this is a fun fact about that track, Guess Who's Back. I heard on that track that the ad-libs at the start of the song is all real. Like when Jay-Z says like, yo, the headphones are distorted, bring it down a little bit. Okay, now we're working with it. Now, according to a friend of Jay-Z's since 2000, he did a 2012 interview with Complex Magazine, and he said anytime you hear Jay talking on a track like that, he's literally talking to somebody in the studio. He's either talking to me or somebody else. I'm like, oh, I just thought he was just talking, but he's really talking to somebody. Like, yo, turn that AC off real quick and, drop the volume down, woo, woo, woo. All right, now we back in the mix, and I love that. So I thought that was a funny, aspect to the song, Guess Who's Back. The track Guess Who's Back is talking about like dealing with adversities in life and overcoming them with lines like, guess who's back? You still smelling crack in my clothes. Now, that suggests that Jay-Z will always be looked at as a hoodlum, a no-good drug dealer, even though he's come clean from all of that decades and decades later. As people in the public eye that's going to look at him and view him in the same way. Or when Benny Siegel says, and guess who's back? Shit, I used to hug a corner like an old deuce and a quarter, till like deuce in the morning with the old head slinging loose quarters. This Philly cat back at it, still fucking with the crack addicts, still busting with that black matic. Meaning, deuce and a quarter is like an old school Buick that's approximately 22.5 inches long. So these vehicles I'm talking about usually sit low to the ground, hugging the block. And so that's what he meant by the line I just said. And then he's like up in the morning selling drugs to like deuce in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning. That's another two. Then old heads on the corner, drug dealers are slinging loose quarters or selling a quarter ounce of crack and or weed, depending on how it's made. It could be like a shift plastic sack or a regular baggie, but it's not though. So that's what I got, deuce, 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 deuce. And that's why I like that line, and guess who's back?
Or late night, if you were hustling, you pitch quarters, you throw quarters, pitching quarters. It's a way of gambling. You try to get it closer to the wall, and then try to hit the other quarter off of the wall. It's almost like a cornhole.
Oh, that's a different way of looking at it.
It's called pitching quarters. It's
damn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you really was into it. Okay.
What's the average joint I got for him is that's funny you picked that too. Someday was the second joint I picked. Well, Faith Evans. For me, it was interesting at that time because once again, uh, Southern rap was honestly becoming prevalent at this time, 2002, 2003. Like we always had Southern rappers. We were already privy to Project Pat and everybody, but once again, we all know it's a difference between when your rap is regional and when your rap becomes mainstream. You know what I mean? There's always been people that rap in all of these respective areas, but it's different when it hit that video and then every other day you're seeing T.I. or you're seeing Lil Jon or the Young Bloods and everything like that, compared to when everything before was Method Man, Tikal, Redman, Nas, Jay-Z, DMX. You know what I mean? So at this time, we're seeing this little shift. So to hear Scarface, similar to me, whereas though you don't necessarily have a, like, I know we have to say, like, respectively that he's a Southern rapper. But then to hear him on this Neptune beat. Once again, most of the time you use a beat to dictate what genre somebody's trying to be in. You call somebody a hip-hop rapper because you know they're rapping to their... You know what I mean? They're going for that type vibe. We ain't doing no 808s. We're not trying to glide you out or set a tone or a mode. It's a certain thing that makes this a Southern joint. So once again, to hear him on a Neptune beat, Faith Evans on the hook, and then it to be a spiritually reflective song. Son of a bitch. He just hit a little bit of everything. So once again, to me, it's one of those songs that whenever I go back to the album and think about it, is it's that balance that I feel like some people are missing when they feel like you're trying to tell them that they have to sell out to make songs or something. You know what I mean? I feel like nowadays when you tell anybody like to go in and make a song intentionally, they feel like it has to be some type of disgenuine thing to their self. And then to hear a song like this once again, or even this full body of work, and be like, yo, this was an intentional thing. You didn't necessarily just have every song stuck on one subject base. And then even for this one, once again, wanting to be a soldier and speaking about God and reflecting on things like that, past transgressions, even to speak about the drugs or whatever, but also had the duality of it and not necessarily being like, I'm the man because of these things I was doing, but to say like, I was a man doing these things, trying to become something else. You know what I mean? So I just enjoyed it. It was a reflective song, and it shows like songwriting and the skill base of rap in a different light than you really get to see it in nowadays, at least without the stink on it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good take on Someday featuring Faith Evans. He definitely brought a different dynamic to that song and touching on different levels of topics and not just really talking about the same old stuff, you know? So yeah. We are going to wrap this part of the segment up. We'll be back in 5 seconds, like literally. And y'all go to part 2 of Scarface The Fix. And thank you, Chicago, for tuning in. Thank you, DMV area. Thank you all, the world. Peace.
Peace.